King Von's death. This is the notorious Biggs and P. Diddy case all over again. Because just check it. Who would have benefited more from the death of King Von? Little Durk. Who would have benefited more from the death of Biggie? P. Diddy. Biggie was on the label that Diddy owned. Von was on the label that Durk owned. So just check it. Who would have benefited from this man's death? Who would be most likely to set up this man? Because his death is so fucked up. It's so fucked up, or only people from Von's side got it mostly. A little bit of people from Quando Rondo's side got it. This was a setup just like Biggie's setup. This was a real and a major setup. Okay? Because Durk was jealous of Von because Von had street credibility. Von was the street. Durk was just a writer and a calm little singer and a rapper. But Von was the street, and Von talked about the street, and Von drew Durk out in the street because Durk was like those nerdy type of rapper. Was no gangster in him, was no street in him. Von bring Durk in the street. Von showed Durk the street. But Durk had him took out and pretending that he didn't do it. Just check the interview. Just check the interview back with Durk where they was talking about sliding for Von. Just check that whole interview and see once Von's name came up, Durk old pastor changed. Everything about Durk changed. Okay, if he was in an investigation room, he'd be pressured so much into snitching. Durk know how Von died. Because Durk paid the money for Von death. Then Durk paid a little money to get rid of Lil Tim and feel like that's gonna satisfy Chicago. Durk, you know how Von died. You know. That's why you ain't after Quando Rondo team that much. That's why you ain't in that big of a beef with NBA Youngboy. Because you know how Von died. You know. You can't trick us. You know. We know you know. Von was in the way of your major success because Von came from prison and instantly became a star. Von took your spotlight that you had so many years before him. Von came from prison and had your spotlight. And you never knew putting Von in the game, Von would directly be the major spotlight in the game. You thought that people's eye was on you, but rap fans love street and love a person that's living what they're preaching, and you wasn't living what you're preaching. Von gave you that energy to go out there, and you took out Von in a setup type of way where he'd have a beef with